Yeah, wonderful. Cool, amazing. So welcome everyone. This is another Doppelhelix reading. My name is André Vauthey. I am one of the founders. And today we will read the play Call to Home from Joseph Lindsay, if that's correctly said, who is joining us today too. Um, then I'll just let the actors introduce themselves. Maybe that's the easiest. Maybe beginning with you, Maya.
Sure. Hi, I'm Maya, and I'm going to be reading for Officer.
I am Jake, and I'm going to be reading for Mister.
I'm Tana, and I'll be reading for Mrs.
Perfect. And I'll be just reading, the stage direction, which is basically the changes of scenes, I guess. So the way we'll do it is we'll just start. Everyone who's not reading, if they can turn off their videos and maybe mute themselves, that'd be wonderful. And then at the end, when we're done with the reading, we'll just all come back and just have a nice little chat about the play and our feelings and all that. So yeah, enjoy. Call to Home by Joseph Lindsay. Scene 1.
So you know the rest of the plan?
Of course I do. You don't have to keep asking me to repeat it.
And yet, when I ask you to repeat it, you still can't get the little details of it down.
Is now really the time to be questioning the little details?
It's the little details that are important. A little ignorance to those details goes a long way.
What? I'm not being ignorant. I want to do this.
I know.
This is all I want.
I know. Being at the bottom means we must carry all the weight. My shoulders are tired. For once, I want us to be the weight. I won't let anything mess this up.
I don't really know what you mean.
I helped you when you needed me to lift you out of a bad spot, right?
Right.
So now I need you to pay attention to the little details, okay?
All right, I get it.
I know you want this as much, if not more than I do, but this is our only chance. Are you ready?
Yes. I think so.
You think so?
Yes, I think so.
Cute. Swing.
It feels
Cute.
so.
Little corset.
I know there's no other way for me to get what I want. But it doesn't stop me from feeling this way. I think this is where I'm at, and this is where I'm going to stay. But it won't stop me from getting what I want. It won't.
Okay. I will settle for I think so then. Thank you for being honest with me.
I always am.
Okay. Grab the rope in the bag and let's go. The lights have been out for an hour now.
Scene 2.
And that's when you went in?
It is indeed.
You said you waited for an hour,
Yep.
so it was planned.
You ask a lot of questions.
Well, that is my job.
Your purpose is to ask questions?
I suppose you can say it like that.
Doesn't matter how I say it, it is what it is. You're a cog in a well-oiled machine.
And what are you in this machine?
Now you're asking the right questions.
What's your answer?
Have you ever been ignored? Ever said a joke or told a story only to realize no one is listening? Not nice, is it? Imagine that's your life. It's not just a story or a joke, but not your want to be noticed, but your needs being ignored, your hunger, your tears, everything you perceive as necessary is nothing to anyone else. I'm invisible. Only until now.
So this was for attention?
End of Scene 2. Scene 3.
Turn on the video. I feel sick. I don't know if I can continue.
Do you remember what I said to you when we first met? I told you that real order doesn't exist. It's something that humans created to make them feel safe. In a world full of chaos, society is a bubble that shields people from the truth, that bad things happen to good people and good things happen to bad people. In short, it's a bubble from the truth that there is no real intricate pattern to all of this. And when you fail and fall out of society because that society fails on you, you have the freedom to realize that and you can make your own order.
I remember.
You know what I made my order around?
Me.
Precisely. You felt sick before we started, so it's no change. And you can do this. You must. Everything has led to this. This is necessary.
I know it is.
We know why we're here, and we know what we need to do together. As long as I'm here, you can do this.
I know. There's no other way. And you're here to help me do this.
Good. You ready to continue?
Yes, I am. I'm sorry.
Never be sorry.
End of scene 3. Scene 4.
Yes. It was for attention. Does that make you feel better that you understand why now? Will that make the victims feel better? Will it put your mind at ease?
Do you feel no remorse for what you did?
I feel some, but it was necessary.
You think what you did was necessary?
You think what you do is necessary?
Well, yes, I do.
Why?
Because we need to solve cases and find out why people do the things they do.
Did you always want this to be your job?
I wanted to be an officer.
So no. You just had to find where you fit in.
I think I should be the one asking questions here.
Small piece of rubble.
What?
An answer to your question before.
Why rubble?
A small piece of rubble. And yes, it was necessary.
End of scene 4. Scene 5.
Is it done?
It's done.
Can I see?
Go ahead.
I can't believe it. We did it.
We did. How do you feel?
Sick. I feel sick. Is it meant to feel like this?
I don't know.
Will this ever go away?
Probably not.
Have you still got the gun?
Yeah.
Thank you. For everything.
End of scene 5. Scene 6.
So was it worth it in the end? Do you think you accomplished what you set out to do?
Almost.
What?
I almost did what I set out to do.
You almost got enough attention?
You're still hooked on the premise that I did this for myself. This was never for me. It was all for her. The whole thing was her idea. I was simply a means to get it done.
She is dead because of you.
I know. That was the sum.
What?
of my remorse. For someone whose purpose it is to ask questions, what seems to be a staple of yours?
And how was this her idea? How was this all for her?
When I first met her, she told me stories about how she started living on the streets. She and her dad moved into a new house with his new girlfriend, but the new girlfriend was... The new girlfriend was jealous and started to do things when her dad was gone.
Like what?
Started with the usual, hitting her with a belt or smacking her for punishment. But she must have gotten a taste for it because eventually it started getting more and more extreme. She would cut her with a knife in between her toes, pour boiling water on her legs, some real sadistic shit. She always said that if she went to her dad and told him that she would really hurt her. She never said anything to him until one day when they were all at the table, she reached for something and he saw. His girlfriend must have run out of skin that she could cover up because on her arms were burn marks and cuts. He saw her injuries and he ignored it. From then on, it was like she was invisible. He ignored her. Her own father. She understood what it was like.
To be invisible?
Exactly. She got me. Anyway, the girlfriend blamed her for the dad seeing her injuries. As punishment, she decided to forego subtlety and poured acid on her face. Maybe she wanted to see if she would get away with it, put him to the test, like it's me or her kind of thing. You know what?
What?
He left with her. He chose his girlfriend over his daughter. One day she came home and there was something else there. They had moved without her, left her to fend for herself like me. That's when I found her. She wanted revenge, so I helped her look for them. After years of searching, we finally found them. We stalked the house for days. I took notes of their patterns so we could get them both. He wasn't there that night. He should have been there.
Mr. Collins is dead.
What?
Mr. Collins, your friend's dad, upon returning home, he saw the bodies of his wife and his daughter, and he shot himself with the gun left on the scene. I'm showing the suspect a picture of Mr. Collins.
You know why I chose rubble?
Why?
I chose rubble because one piece just falls through the machine without anyone noticing, but if two drop together in a specific enough way, they get lodged and the machine stops working.
Interrogation ended at 5:35.
I did.
Excuse me?
Earlier. You asked me if I did what I set out to do.
End of scene. End of play. Congrats, everyone. You can all come back. Nice jobs, guys.
That was incredible. Well done. That was really amazing.
Thanks, Joseph. Well, it's a great play. It's well written. I really like it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. I was
Miles
hoping-
performed amazingly. guys were amazing. That was incredible. Well done. Really, 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 really amazing.
So cool. Yeah, I always open the floor for anyone to give any feedbacks or anything they want to talk about the play or whatever.
Yeah, I really love the play because just how it builds up is so well done. It kept me so on the page because this back and forth with the interrogation room, it was such interesting timing that was cut in. It didn't start with the interrogation room. That's what I actually loved, because a lot of things start like, it reminded me a lot of a lot of documentaries and things that I watched that were kind of in that style, but they start with interrogation rooms usually, and I love that it didn't. We were first introduced to their world, to their story, and then the interrogation room came in, and I loved how it just, came back to it while the story was going on, and you could kind of put the pieces together. And it made me wonder so many things, about so many things that, especially Mr., how much was it really for her? How much was it really for him? It's not very clear, but that made me think a lot. What is it? How much of it is your own loneliness, trying to, have someone who also feels shitty this way, or who feels also mistreated. And that was so many topics in this play, and I really loved reading it.
Same. I really loved that nothing was obvious. I started reading it thinking it's gonna go one way, it actually didn't, but and I wasn't disappointed in any route it took. I was super surprised when all of a sudden there was a change of scenery for the interrogation, or when at first it was very unclear, which I liked. And I was like, oh, is it going to stay like that? We're probably not going to even know what they're doing. But then I was surprised because then we actually did know. It keeps you on your toes, which I really liked.
Yeah. I agree. It's cool to see a play that trusts the audience immediately to go along with it, instead of spoon feeding an audience everything about the characters from the minute we see them, and just to trust this is the situation, and trust that the audience has not even just understand, but even has their own imagination, right? That they can have they're going to go wild with the story before they find out what the story is, which is really the best theater, when you really engage people's minds like that. So
I'm leaving a couple of minutes to see if Joseph is just slowly. I think you've frozen Joseph right now, but
Sorry, I went away then. Sorry, what did you say?
Me or Jake?
Jay. I ended when Jay was talking about understanding.
Yeah, I was saying that it lets the audience go wild on their own story to begin, and it trusts the audience, which is really good, because a lot of plays nowadays, we've been reading a lot of plays for this series, and it's a lot of plays don't trust the audience. They want to give the audience everything at the outset of the play, but you really trusted that people are going to go along with it, and they have their own minds and imaginations, which I thought was really cool.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah, I don't have much other things to say. I agree with everything that's been said. I really like the way it's cut, the scenes. I agree with Maya. It's really well timed in the story building. I agree as well. I think I love the fact that it's opening with that scene with the two characters, because then you really connect to their relationship. That's the first thing you connect to, is their relationship. Whereas when you connect interrogation room, you connect to the guy and the guy, it's a whole other mood that the first mood you create in the beginning of the play kind of sets the play. I really like that. I think if you just switch scene 1 and scene 2, people would just say the play is about something else, right? Even if you don't change a word, you just switch it. I think people would be like, oh, it's a play about this guy defending himself. Whereas right now I'm like, oh, it's a play about love. Or I don't know. Maybe I'm projecting a little bit. It doesn't matter what it's about, but you definitely sets the mood differently. And I thought that was brilliant. And
especially the timing where it cuts from scene 1 to 2. That was so brilliant, I think, because in scene 1 we don't know actually what's going on, right? So it's just, okay, two people are meeting up, apparently doing something not so good, and then they have a rope, and then it cuts to interrogation room where it's like, oh shit, okay, where's this going? I think that was my favorite switch, the beginning. Yeah.
Do you think that in terms of like the last like couple of scenes, do you think it's clear in what I'm trying to portray? Like I felt like when I was writing it, the last like bit was kind of, because I'm looking obviously to adapt it and change it and maybe add more to it, but I like where it's at. So I was just wondering if there's anything in terms of maybe the last bit or anything else that you think could be more clear or could be added to it.
I thought it was pretty clear as to the motives, obviously, of the woman, and the backstory obviously becomes very clear at the end. And the man, he like on one hand explain, on the other hand it does stay a little ambiguous, which I think is good. He explains it, and in our head we're like, okay, so he said, but it still gets you to think. Like, he didn't over explain it, which is something I like.
Yeah, I agree. I do like that too. The one moment I wasn't sure is, and maybe you want to keep it that way, but it's just my feedback is like when she kills herself, right? When she takes the gun and kills herself, how much is it a shock and surprise to him, and how much is he like? Is it like is it part of the plan, or did she just decide it in this moment, right? And I guess you don't have to answer and make that clear. It can be, it can be a question we get out of the play, being like, I don't know. But I think we would see on him, right, on his reaction, like, is he shocked and surprised? I mean, he can be fucking shocked. Sorry, he can be shocked and surprised, even if he knew it, just because of the action itself. But I was just wondering, just if you want to talk about it, I was wondering what's your point of view about that. Not that we do need an answer. I was just curious about that.
No, I think that's a good point. I think so this is like almost, I think this is like the second draft or third draft of it. So it's kind of like there's a lot of stuff that I've left purposely ambiguous so that it kind of, like when I write, I don't kind of plan the storyline beforehand. I just kind of go with it, and it naturally kind of goes in a certain place. So with things like that, I'm not 100% sure. And I think I agree with you. It's like one of those things of like, I think once I get his character down more and understand more about him, I'll start to learn more about his intentions and things like that. Because I think, like you say, it is quite their relationship is really interesting and understanding it. And when she kills herself, there's a moment there where it's like, is he completely okay with it? Is he, was it something that he expected? Is it like, that kind of Romeo and Juliet thing, but just one of them dies, just it like, yeah, I think that's a fair point. I think it's something that I'll look into a lot more as like rewriting and stuff.
Yeah. No,
I would also be very curious to see, I mean, I love it in this length very much, but I would also be curious to see like a longer version of this. To not reveal everything, of course, but like it makes me stay curious at the end of this play. Yeah.
Do you think it would be good to do something add something in the middle or the beginning, or would you say the ending, adding more stuff to the ending? Because this is where I'm at with it, where it's like
I like the ending a lot. So it's tough because I love it the way it is. It was just like it leaves me with like, I wanna be longer with them. So I actually don't know where I would add something, but I actually, because the beginning is perfect, the end is perfect. I don't know. Sorry, I just like said it, but because it really, I want to stay in that world when I finish reading it. So I was wondering if there's something. I don't want to like, but maybe a scene after she kills herself. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know.
I hear you, Maya. I feel the same way, but at the same time, I wonder if that's not perfect that way, right? If having it that length and us wanting more and being in that, if that's not exactly the feeling we should, I mean, there's not should or not shouldn't, right? But I like the idea of us wanting more, but we don't get that, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we don't get more explanation. We don't get more, because I thought as well, like, oh, maybe a scene at the end when he is alone and see like, what is he gonna do with his life now? Like, what's his next move? Or like, should we get a flashback right when they just met? But then I was like, no, it's nice to go for it, Maya.
Oh no, so sorry, but just because you said flashback,
Yeah.
Sorry, I shouldn't be saying these things, but like, I was just imagining now a flashback to when he felt that humiliated. I don't know, when she was not even in the picture yet. I don't know, because it made me very curious. The lines that were when Mr. was explaining, like, especially the one with, do you know that feeling when no one laughs about your joke? No one, you know, it's you feel so left out. That is a moment that I'm very interested in too.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
true. Maybe at the end of the play, we have like at the end, after a whole story, it's a flashback of him. Yeah, a flashback of him experiencing that. Yeah, I think that could be cool, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah.
No, definitely. I recently saw this. It's a short film by, I'm gonna say his name really wrong, but Taika Waititi, the guy who does like Jojo Rabbit and all that.
Yeah.
He done a short film called Two Cars One Night. It was like his first short film that did a thing, and it's what's really interesting about it is it just doesn't tell you anything. It leaves so many mysteries and tells you nothing, and it's like it's beautiful. You want to watch it, but it just feeds you so many different things and it explains nothing. So I like that idea of like it has that. But just because you've said it now, like I've only just realized that is a tool you can use. Do you know what I mean? Like if you can be introduced to a world and then want more, it's good. But I think I agree with you. That kind of flashback more about him could be quite interesting, because I feel like the character of the most speaking is actually the one that, in terms of personality and because of what's said, we don't really know much about him.
That could be, yeah.
What was the title of the short film again, if you don't mind?
Two Cars One Night, I think. It's like 11 minutes long. It's amazing. If you get the chance to check it out, it's really, really good.
Well, definitely will. Like, Maya, if you find it, please send it to me as well.
Yes.
Amazing. If anyone has a last word, or want to jump in to say one last thing, otherwise I think we'll end here.
Great.
Cool, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Joseph. Thank you for everyone who came along and for the actors, obviously.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, guys. Just wanted to say, like, it's amazing, and thank you guys for letting me, like.
Yeah, if you ever want to send us, another version or a new play, Joseph, feel free. We're here. We love doing this, and we loved your play, so we'd love to see more from you anyway.
Perfect. I'll definitely keep in touch then. I've got loads of stuff from writing, so that'd be amazing.
Perfect. Amazing. Cool. Well, thank you, everyone.
Thank
Have
you.
a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Bye, you all.